Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS, FANS. Let's get to the news, so let's talk about something that's been bubbling up in NFL circles lately. The possibility of the Atlanta Falcons making a bold move that could shake up the entire NFC South and alter their championship trajectory. And no, we're not talking about just another free agent signing or a draft pick. This is about a potential blockbuster trade that could redefine the Falcons' defensive front and give them the kind of edge they've been craving for years. We're diving into the rumors swirling around Nick Bosa, the San Francisco 49ers superstar edge rusher, and how he might end up in Atlanta. Now I know what some of you are thinking, is that even possible? Well, with the way NFL teams are operating these days, especially post-2023, anything's on the table. Let's break down what's happening behind the scenes and what it could mean for the Falcons. First, you have to understand the context. The 49ers, despite having an impressive record of 11-4, have been battling injuries and roster limitations. Nick Bosa, since being drafted in 2019, has established himself as one of the league's premier pass rushers. With 98 sacks, over 500 tackles, and a consistent high-grade PFF rating that averages around 92. 0 with a peak of 95. 0 in 2023, Bosa has been the cornerstone of their defense. And yet, despite his dominance, San Francisco is reportedly open to trading him. Why? Well, according to sources, the 49ers are prioritizing cap space and youth development on the defensive line, and they see trading Bosa as a way to free up around $25 million in cap space, which they can then use to address other needs like wide receiver and linebacker positions. They're also mindful of the fact that their defense, while still formidable, has seen a slight decline in sacks, down by about 13 from last year, and they want to rebuild strategically, especially with a focus on extending players like Brock Purdy. But here's where it gets interesting for Falcons fans. If the Falcons can get involved and pull off a trade for Bosa, it would be a game changer. Atlanta's defensive line has been decent but not quite elite yet. They've combined for around 35 sacks in total this season, and while that's respectable, adding a player of Bosa's caliber could push that number significantly higher, projecting an additional 14 sacks, potentially bringing Atlanta's total to around 49 or even 50 sacks next season. Imagine a pass rush with Bosa, who's capable of consistently generating pressure and disrupting opposing backfields. His presence would elevate the entire defense, especially the pass rush, which has struggled at times to get consistent pressure on top-tier quarterbacks. What does that mean in real terms? Well, Atlanta's defense, which has already shown flashes of brilliance, would turn into a nightmare for any offensive line. His ability to generate pressure, with an average of over 15 pressures per game in 2023, would help reduce the number of points allowed by a significant margin. We've seen this kind of impact before. When a team adds a top-tier pass rusher like Bosa, it's not just about the sacks, it's about how he elevates the entire defensive unit, allowing the secondary to play more aggressively and forcing turnovers. The Falcons, who have been hovering around 24 points per game allowed, could see that number drop even further, perhaps to around 19 points per game, making them a much more formidable threat. Now the trade specifics are still up in the air, but some insiders suggest that the Falcons could offer a combination of draft picks, including future first-round selections, to entice the 49ers. The value of Bosa, considering his age only 26 and his proven dominance, could easily command a package that includes 2 first-round picks, maybe even a second-rounder, plus some additional considerations. This kind of trade, while costly in draft capital, might be exactly what Atlanta needs to make that leap from a good team to a true contender. And let's not forget, this move isn't just about immediate impact. It's about setting a tone for the future. Bosa's presence on the field would inspire the entire defense, giving Atlanta a legitimate pass rush threat that can be a catalyst for their playoff push. With Bosa, the Falcons could emulate some of the most dominant defenses in recent NFL history. Think about the Ravens in 2023 or the Chiefs' defensive surge last year. That kind of pressure could turn the Falcons into a top-3 defense, significantly boosting their chances of making a deep playoff run. Of course, there are always skeptics. The 49ers, with a cap hit of $18 million for Bosa, would need to weigh the long-term benefits of trading him versus keeping him. They're also looking to extend Purdy, which complicates things further. Some analysts believe the 49ers might prefer to focus on extending their core players rather than trading away one of their best assets, especially if they believe they can contend again in 2024. But the market for elite pass rushers is fierce, and if Atlanta can offer the right combination of picks and future assets, this trade could become a reality. Looking at the bigger picture, this isn't just about adding a star. It's about shifting the balance of power in the NFC South and the NFC overall. A Falcons defense featuring Bosa would be a nightmare for offenses, particularly against top-tier offensive lines like those of the Panthers or the Buccaneers. His addition could swing the game in Atlanta's favor in close contests, especially in the playoffs where pressure and disruption are king. In terms of playoff implications, Bosa would be a game-changer. His ability to produce sacks in crucial moments, like he's done with the 49ers in multiple playoff games, would give Atlanta a clear advantage. The Falcons have shown flashes of a strong pass rush this season, but adding Bosa would take that to another level entirely. Imagine him lining up opposite Judon or Ebakti, creating mismatches and forcing offenses to game plan around him. That kind of disruption can turn the tide of games and give Atlanta's secondary more opportunities to create turnovers, which has been a key part of their recent success. From a strategic standpoint, the Falcons could also leverage this move to accelerate their rebuild. With the NFC South still wide open, especially if Bosa joins the fold, Atlanta could position itself as a serious contender in 2024 and beyond. The division remains competitive, but with Bosa anchoring their pass rush, the Falcons could become a legitimate force, reminiscent of some of the dominant defenses in recent NFL history. And don't forget, a strong defense often correlates with sustained winning seasons and deep playoff runs, which is exactly what Atlanta has been aiming for. Now, looking at the bigger NFL landscape, this trade would resonate across the league. The 49ers, by trading Bosa, would be signaling a rebuild or a shift toward a different team-building philosophy, focusing more on youth and cap flexibility. For Atlanta, it's an opportunity to leapfrog other NFC contenders and establish themselves as a true powerhouse. The move would send shockwaves through the NFC South and challenge the dominance of teams like the Eagles, 49ers, and even the Cowboys in the NFC. Of course, nothing is set in stone yet. The NFL trade deadline is always a whirlwind, and teams play their cards close to the vest until the last moment. But for us Falcons fans, dreaming about Bosa rushing the passer in Atlanta is not just wishful thinking. It's a possibility that could turn the tide in our favor. The potential for Bosa to transform the Falcons' defense into an elite, relentless pass-rushing unit is real, and it's a storyline that will dominate NFL conversations if it ever comes to fruition. As we look ahead to the offseason, the Falcons have the pieces to make this happen. Draft capital, cap space, and a coaching staff that's eager to build a top-tier defense all align perfectly if Atlanta decides to go all in. The question is whether they'll pull the trigger and make that bold move to bring Nick Bosa to Atlanta, transforming the Falcons into a true force to be reckoned with for years to come. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So what do you guys think? Is this just some NFL rumor mill chatter, or could we really see Bosa in the red, black, and white next season? Would this be the kind of move that propels Atlanta into Super Bowl contention, or is it too risky? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below, and tell me if you think Bosa would be the perfect addition, or if we should focus on other areas of the roster. Personally, I believe that if the Falcons can land him, it would be a move for the ages, the kind of move that could define a new era for Atlanta football. We've seen what a dominant pass rusher can do, and Bosa, with his relentless motor and game-changing ability, might just be the piece that gets us over the top. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Atlanta Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news.